The Jackson County Prosecutor's Office this week charged a couple with keeping a 9-year-old girl locked in the basement for months because she lacked bladder control. Timothy Phillips and Lacey Cheney have been charged with neglect of a child, child endangerment, and felonious restraint. According to documents, Phillips told the investigators that the girl was kept in the unfinished basement since February because she couldn't control her bladder. Authorities say the 9-year-old was sleeping on a mostly deflated air mattress near an exposed sewage pipe. An interior door leading to the basement was secured by a lock and chain and had been outfitted with an alarm that sounded when the door was opened. So many of these cases are now coming to light in Kansas City. In February, it was a boy being handcuffed to a steel pole in North Kansas City, and it was a neighbor who tipped off authorities. Of course, we can't forget LP, who was locked in a closet for years. How was this child discovered, Mary?
Through the schools. And, you know, congratulations to her elementary school that called. The teacher had sent her to the nurse's office because she smelled bad, because she'd been basically within her own urine. So the nurse then discussed the situation with the child, and she told her about some other rashes on her body. And the nurse made the phone call, and that's how they got to the father and the stepmother. The thing that comes out in this, though, if you really read the indictments, is it's not only just another case of this. I mean, they were keeping this child outside, or that was where her bathroom was. They were basically treating her like you might a dog, quite honestly, tying her up and making her go to the restroom outside. But part of what the father also said, and this is where it red flags brought her into these other stories, is that she didn't like to be bathed. This was part of his excuse for not bathing her. And he said because there had been some past sexual abuse in a shower. That needs to be looked at. Was that reported? What is going on here? It's obviously a very troubled family, but thank goodness this child is safe now.
In the charter school story, Sam was giving us some lessons that we needed to take home from that. What are the lessons that we are supposed to take home from this story?
Well, part of it is that schools or neighbors, the community, the village around the child is often the way that this abuse gets exposed. And that's what LP lacked. She was in a closet, nobody even knew she was there. So it does lend credence to this idea that we need to watch out for the children in our community. And if you sense wrongdoing, make the call.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of committees, but it does seem like this rash of these types of incidents this year suggests that someone should sit down and try and figure out, are we protecting children in the best way possible? Putting together all the state resources, all the local resources to try and understand if the parents are getting the counseling they need, if there are safeguards in place in schools and other places to try and address these things, because there seem to be too many of these cases. Someone is falling through the cracks, and we have to figure out, I think, where those cracks are.